Good morning, students. How are you? I hope you all are fine and staying home to keep yourself safe from COVID 19. Students, in the previous module, we discussed about the different ways to increase more from the same piece of land, how to increase production from the same piece of land. So, there are a number of methods discussed in the previous module. Here, ahead to that topic only, we are going to discuss some more topics in this module. So, let us begin, students. While increasing the production from the same piece of land, we follow the different ways as modern farming methods and multiple cropping, which we have discussed in the previous module. So here a question comes, will the land sustain? Meaning the quality of land. The land being a natural resource, it is necessary to be careful in its use. Scientific reports indicate that the modern farming methods have overused the natural resource base. So it is very clear from the scientific research, whatever resources are there, natural resources are there that are being overused due to the technological development and prosperity, causing increase in the demand of different goods and services. In many areas, green revolution is associated with the loss of soil fertility due to increased use of chemical fertilizers. So that way you can understand here the quality of land has started declining. Also, continuous use of groundwater, underground water for tube-well irrigation has led to a depletion of the water table. If we are using the water for irrigation from the canal, from the lake and pond, that is not that much damaging the underground water level or the groundwater level. But when we are using that water from the tube well, so of course it is draining out the groundwater and that causes depletion of groundwater level. Environmental resources like soil fertility and groundwater are built up over years. So of course, you know, the soil is formed in millions of years. A thin layer of soil is created in number of years. Similarly, the groundwater is not immediately charged. It takes time. And if the use of groundwater will be faster than the recycling of that groundwater, of course, there will be a serious risk behind depletion of underground water table. Once destroyed, it is very difficult to restore them. If once we destroy it, we cannot restore it. We must take care of the environment to ensure future development of agriculture. So this is way as we are dependent on land, dependent on soil for agriculture, for growing crops. So we need to take care of it so that we can continue use of it for agricultural production. Otherwise, excessive use of soil, excessive use of land may cause unrecoverable damage to it. Chemical fertilizer. provide mineral which dissolve in water and are immediately available to plants, and that causes faster growth of the plant. So you can say it is a direct supplement to the plant, but these may not be retained in soil for long. As we spread it over the soil, over the plant, just after that there is rainfall or the irrigation, dissolving these chemicals into the water and then seep into the ground. They may escape from the soil and pollute the groundwater, rivers, and lakes. So, how to groundwater? That seepage of that dissolved chemicals during the rainfall, during the irrigation that seep into the ground. Rivers and lakes are getting these chemicals through the surface runoff during the rain. Chemical fertilizer can also kill bacteria and other microorganisms in the soil, which may be fruitful for the crops. This means sometime after their use, the soil will be less fertile than ever before. So, after seeing all these result observation, it is expected due to use of these chemical fertilizer, excessive use of these chemical fertilizer, the day will come the soil will become so unfertile that was never earlier. So whatever these informations are there, that is source down to earth New Delhi. The consumption of chemical fertilizer in Punjab is highest in the country. The continuous use of chemical fertilizer has led to degradation of soil health. Punjab farmers are now forced to use more and more chemical fertilizer and other inputs to achieve the same production level. And it is observed when we first use the chemical fertilizer to the soil, the results becomes very good. And afterward, after every next use, the productivity of the soil starts decreasing and we get lesser production in the every next level of production with the use of similar quantity of fertilizer. To maintain the similar productivity, similar quantity of production, we need to increase the quantity of chemical fertilizer, and that causes excess use of chemical fertilizer, which cause some harmful effect. This means cost of cultivation is means as we are using more chemical fertilizer, more and more chemical fertilizer later on. That means cost of cultivation is rising very fast. Now, how is land distributed between the farmers of Palampur? If we observe, if we read the chapter, we find that the land distribution in the village Palampur is not proper. You must have realized how important land is for farming. Unfortunately, not all the people engaged in agriculture have sufficient land for cultivation. As land distribution you can see in this image. Okay, there many plots are in small shapes and some plots can be seen in larger shape. In Palampur, about one third of the 450 families are landless. 150 families are landless, and most of them are Dalits and have no land for cultivation. Of the remaining families who own land, 240 families cultivate small plots of land less than 2 hectares in size. So that way, rest of the families, 240 families, cultivate small plots and their land is also less than 2 hectares in size. Cultivation of such plots does not bring adequate income to the farmer's family. You can see the large number of small plots scattered around the village in the picture. So this way here you can see these are cultivated by the small farmers. So around the big field, larger field, you can see the small fields are also there. On the other hand, more than half of the area of the village covered by plots that are quite large in size. As here in pie chart also it is given 55.4% cultivated area is cultivated by 15% medium and large farmers. Here color is just opposite given and 44.6% area is cultivated by 85% farmer of the village. So this is the condition in the village. The cultivation of such plots does not bring adequate income to the farmer's family. You can see the large number of small plots scattered around the village in the picture. These are cultivated by small farmers. On the other hand, more than half of the area of the village is covered by plots that are quite large in size. In Palampur, there are 60 families of medium and large farmers who cultivate more than 2 hectares of land. A few of the large farmers have land extending over 10 hectares or more. So, some farmers are having land more than 10 hectares also. Who will provide labor? So, after land, labor is the next necessary factor of production. Till now, we discussed about the land. Now, labor. Farming requires a great deal of hard work. So, small farmers, along with their families, cultivate their own field. Thus, they provide the labor required for farming themselves. Medium and large farmers hire farm laborers to work on their field. The farm laborers come either from landless families or families cultivating small plots of land. So, from two types of families that farmers may come for working as farm laborers that are landless families, or families cultivating small plots of land. Unlike farmers, farm laborers do not have a right over the crops grown on the land. So here difference is there very clear that farm laborer do not have right over the crops grown on the land. They are just working as a laborer. They will not get any part from that production. Instead, they are paid wages by the farmers for whom they work. Wages can be in cash or kind. Example, crop. Sometimes laborers get meal also. So some of the farmers offer meal also during the work. Wages vary widely from region to region, from crop to crop, season to season, from one farm activity to another, like sowing and harvesting. There is also a wide variation in the duration of employment. Some of the farmers are hired for 10 days, for 5 days, for 3 days, so that way, as per their needs. The medium and large farmers hiring these farm laborers. A farm laborer might be employed on a daily basis or for one particular farm activity like harvesting or for the whole year. Dala is a landless farm laborer who work on daily basis in Palampur. Who is Dala? So this you can see from this story part. Here Dala and Ramkali are discussing among themselves, and they belongs to the poorest native of the village. Like Dala is saying, it is difficult to find work these days. Only the large farmers hire us, and that too for very limited number of days. So Dala is saying about his problem, what they face. The Ramkali is saying, Ghanshyam, uh, the large farmer had just bought a harvester. So whatever problem is shared by this Dala. So the reason behind that problem said by Ramkali that Ghanshyam, the large farmer, has just bought a harvester. So we are going to get even less work during the harvest season this year. Last year I worked for less than 5 months in the whole year. So just working for 4 to 5 months, they have to survive for 12 months. This is the big problem for these farm laborers. Dala again saying we have tractors for plowing, harvesters for harvesting, threshers for threshing, even for removing weeds. Some farmers spray weedicide. So this way, the most of these works are becoming mechanic. So laborers are hired lesser than earlier. So this year I will have to look for work in the brick making unit in Raiganj. So Ramkali is saying that this year I have to search, look for work region. Dala is telling his problem. कि I owe the local money lender 2000 rupees, means took loan, borrowed money about 2000 from local lenders, money lender. I had taken 1000 rupees last summer when no work was available in the field. So how will I ever repay. I hardly earn enough for 2 square meal. So Dala is saying this 2000 rupees, 1000 rupees I have taken from money lender. But I think when I will repay it, as I'm not getting work. So Ramkali is saying my situation is also not much better. Due to past debt, the moneylender refused to give me only any loan. So that way, Ramkali is also suffering from the similar problem. So they are discussing here that story only here little bit explained in the paragraph in your textbook. This means he must regularly look for work. The minimum wage for a farm laborer set by the government is about 300 rupees in March 2017, but Dala is getting only rupees 160. There is a heavy competition for work among the farm laborers in Palampur. So, people agree to work for lower wages. Dala complains about his situation to Ramkali, who is another farm laborer. Both Dala and Ramkali are among the poorest people in the village and they face such problem, and almost similar problem can be seen all over the country belonging to such families people. So this was all about the students in the chapter these topics. So we will meet in the next module with some other topics. So till then, bye bye students. Thank you. Have a nice. Now this is time to discuss homework students. Here few questions given from your exercise of chapter 1 only. Question number 5 from the chapter. Construct a table on the distribution of land among the 450 families of Village Palampur. So on the basis of information given in the chapter, you have to collect the data. How the land distributed among the 450 families, the large farmer, the small farmer, what is the area or the percentage of the total area distributed among the what different classes of family in the village. So that information you have to write on the basis of the data given in the chapter. Why are the wages for farm laborer in village Palampur less than minimum wages? So that region, what are the reasons behind that farmers are getting lower wages than the minimum wages or the standard minimum wages decided for the farmers, for the farm laborers? This eighth question already has been discussed in the previous module, but the question I think could not be asked in that module. So here question is being asked. Take the help of that previous module or from the textbook. What are the different ways of increasing production on the same piece of land? Use example to explain. So suppose there are only two main method of increasing production from the same piece of land, that is modern farming method and multiple cropping. So these two have to explain and giving example how in the modern farming the farmers are growing the crops and getting more production. In the same way you have to give example of this another one, that multiple cropping, how the farmers are growing more than one crop and getting more production on the same piece of land. So this you have to explain. Describe the work of farmer with 1 hectare of land. So as you know that 1 hectare of land is very small plot of land for the farmer and not able to fulfill all the needs and require less inputs. The modern farming methods are not easily applicable over such kind of a small land holding. So that things you have to explain how the farmer will be working over such 1 hectare of land. So you have to describe that work of that farmer. So this was all about today's topics. We'll meet in the next module with some more topics, students. Till then, bye all of you. Thank you. Have a nice day.